The album Young Americans, like all of Bowie's 70s albums, captured the mood of its time a moment before everyone else caught up to it. Musically, it preempted the rise of disco, with funky grooves and soulful singing dressed up in lush productions. Content-wise, Bowie defines his listeners as riding on the bus of survivors, and in that, he preempts what would be one of the main themes of the late 70s disco era: survival. In a harsh political and economic environment, with all 60s hopes dashed, and with the 60s generation mostly busy battling its various drug addictions, there was nothing left of the heroism of rock and roll's past. In the late 60s, youth wanted to change the world. Now, you would be considered a hero if you merely managed to survive. One of the biggest disco survival anthems would be the Bee Gees' Staying Alive, from the soundtrack of the 1977 hit movie Saturday Night Fever. The movie, which completely misrepresented the disco culture of the early 70s, showed a young Italian-American trying to survive in New York and finding local small-time glory as a disco dancer. It was typical of 70s movies, where Italian-American youngsters were often cast as the surviving hero, on the one hand struggling to make it in the predominantly Anglo-Saxon society, and on the other hand fighting to keep his place as king of the streets, against the threat of blacks and Hispanics. Thus, they provided an identifiable hero both for minorities struggling to gain recognition in America, and for Caucasians who feared the rise of these minorities. Disco culture, at first, transcended these social frictions, as it was generated by mainly Italian-American DJs who mixed black and Latin grooves to create an all-loving community. But in the movie, the hero Tony has to show that he can dance better than the blacks and Hispanics, in order to make it in the white world. Bowie's Young Americans was more in the spirit of disco, trying to bring black and white together. But shortly after he went to the city of brotherly love to record his message, someone else came to Philadelphia to tell a different story. Sylvester Stallone's Rocky was an Italian-American heavyweight boxer, fighting in a world that just 2 decades earlier had an Italian-American heavyweight champion, also called Rocky, but was now completely dominated by African-Americans. Rocky seems like a washout on his way to Palookaville, but then he gets the chance of a lifetime to fight against the world champion. He trains hard, but he doesn't even dream of winning. All he wants is to survive, to show the world that he can take the beating, and carry on. In the fight he gets butchered by the black champion, but manages to survive the entire 15 rounds. He loses the match, but he wins enough respect to be able to survive in life. Coming out in 1976, Rocky was a good movie that even won the Oscar, leading to a 1979 sequel in which Rocky gets a rematch against the champ. But in the 3 years between Rocky 1 and 2, American consciousness began to shift, to snap out of the malaise. At one point in the movie, Rocky's wife is in a coma, and Rocky wants to forget about the fight and tend to her. But then she wakes up and tells him there is one thing he can do to make her feel better: win. The 70s were coming to an end, and in the next decade, surviving would not be the name of the game anymore. In the 80s you had to win, and win big. This moment in Rocky 2 is one of the places where we witnessed a shift in consciousness, which happened around that time. But there was someone who said it first, half a decade earlier, in a breathtakingly beautiful record. In the first half of the 70s, Bowie was the embodiment of the heroic, world-changing nature of youth culture, and saw himself as its reflection. Now that it was descending into desperation and thinking only how to survive, he was called upon to do what he does best: reflect the situation and offer a way out. His answer is win. Win is yet another Changes record, in which a new Bowie is emerging and shedding the skin of the old Bowie. The change is always preceded by a feeling that the old identity he created for himself has taken over him, and instead of being a manifestation of his inner self, it has become some alien that runs his life. Here it is expressed in the image of the driver being steered by the wheel, and he hopes that this schizoid state is merely a temporary madness that he can overcome. The old Bowie, now the wheel, is someone who is moving and changing fast, always trying to escape the boredom of everyday life by creating an exciting imaginary world, staying away from any meaningful, long-lasting relationships. The new Bowie that is awakening here no longer sees the logic in this kind of life. He is someone who realizes the joys of regular human emotions, and of feelings shared with others. The old one is still steering the car, but the new one is now getting in touch with him for the first time, and tells him to slow down and find joy in simple everyday life, and in simple human relationships.
There's nothing to hide me, and you never see me hanging naked and white. Somebody lied. I say it's hip to be alive.
The old Bowie would also hide behind characters, but the new one, as we know from other tracks on the album, wants to open up to the world. The second line doesn't make much sense, and I think Bowie absent-mindedly messes it up. The original lyric sheet, in Bowie's handwriting, says, "If there's nothing to hide me, you've never seen me hanging naked and wild," and Bowie probably adds the word "then" by mistake. Read correctly, he seems to be saying that he's always hidden behind masks and didn't let us see him in a vulnerable state, but now he is not going to hide anymore. The "somebody lied" line probably hints at someone who claimed that human life is miserable and should be escaped from, and that someone could be any of numerous thinkers and artists in the history of both Western and Eastern cultures. The old Bowie believed in that as well, and wrote songs that flirted with death, but the new one is telling him that it is good to simply be alive, even if your life isn't some heroic fantasy. Old Bowie used to be happy with his way of life, but now he is miserable, and the smile that he uses to cover this misery is beginning to spread so thin that the cracks are showing. Once he felt successful, now he is just trying not to lose, in other words, to survive. The new Bowie refuses to smile a phony smile, but asserts that to change the situation, all you've got to do is snap out of this defeatist mood, and win. But how do you win?
Fresh on your pages, secret thinkers sometimes you sing aloud. Life lies dumb on its heroes, where your wound was honor makes someone proud. Someone like you should not be allowed to start any fires.
You win simply by embracing life, not the kind of unique and extravagant existence that the old Bowie wanted, but simple everyday life in all its mundane facets. While the heroism of extravagant existence is expressive and loud, the heroism of simple living usually remains dumb, as we take it for granted. But in the pits of despair, this life-loving side finds its voice and expresses itself for the first time on Bowie's lyric pages. It asserts that it has always been there, always been a secret thinker beneath the glam exterior, and now it is time for it to speak. It tells the old Bowie to stop trying to act like a superhero and show himself as a human who has wounds like everyone else, someone other humans can identify with. Furthermore, It claims the old superhuman Bowie is dangerous and should not be allowed to start any more fires. This new Bowie thinks in terms of a human who is part of a community, and puts the welfare of this community above the motivations of the maverick individual. As always, when Bowie is singing about himself, he regards himself also as a reflection of the culture around him. The old Bowie, who was once a joyful creature hungry for artistic victories, but now only tries to survive, is a reflection of mid-70s culture. This downfall led many people to become cynical about life, to question why they should even bother trying to do anything. Bowie's message is, to change the situation, you first need to snap out of this state of mind. All truths decay and die, but new and joyful ones can be found, and you start by the reaffirmation of daily human life and the regeneration of your hunger to win. It ain't over, he keeps telling us. Cultures and ways of life may die, but life goes on.